Hi, it's me again with Corel Draw Tips and Tricks. This is part 3. In the original one, we were using the envelope tool. Now we're not using the envelope tool because it makes it easier. We're redoing this because this thing wasn't perfect. I mean, like this triangle is bigger than this triangle, and these are all a little bit different shape. So I started thinking about when we enveloped this 2.5 patterns or 3 pattern, and it came out really pretty good. And he did a really good job of drawing. It's just a little bit off. You can see that there's 3 sections on here and only 2.5 on this one. So it would be a lot easier, and I just thought, I'm just gonna redraw it. And if you just redraw one, so I'm gonna take the 2 point, I'm gonna use his drawing. I'm just gonna go from there to there and holding down the control button so it's perfect and just have it snap to there. Then we can take that drawing right there and we can Control D and make a duplicate and mirror it. You can see it's off, but that doesn't matter. We need to get it where we can manipulate it. So we're gonna take it and have it snap to right there. We're gonna double click on it and move the rotation to that node. And then we can rotate this one to there. So now we have a perfect shape. We're gonna take the Smart Fill tool and fill this in because that's gonna like weld both of them together, left click, right click. But we need to get this thing even. So with Snap to on, I'm gonna double click on it and move the rotation of that guideline. And then I just have to move this one and it'll snap to that guideline. So now we're, at least we're playing on a even playing field and it's straight. So I'm just gonna take this and go to effects and contour. I measured the distance in 0.1. So that gives us that same inner outer shape. I'm gonna need the contour docker in a second, but I'm gonna open up the blend docker. And if you notice you could do this with contouring, but if you count the lines across, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 lines. And there's actually, if you start, there's 12. So what we need to do is take a 2-point line, draw not a curved line, a 2-point line, and draw a straight line. Let me zoom in up here, up on this. Take this line and have it snap to the inside. Get on that. See, we're not even there. There we go, right on that node. Hit the plus key on the keyboard and just move it over to that side. Now select both of these holding down the shift key, and we're gonna have blended 8 times. Now, there's a lot of times you could do the weld tool on this and stuff, but I find it's just easier to do this. Select the whole thing and break the 5 objects apart. Then we're just gonna use our virtual segment delete key, and we're gonna delete these 2 lines. We're gonna delete these 2 lines. We're gonna delete these 2 lines, and we're gonna delete these 2 lines. Then we're gonna go through and delete these lines. And we'll let the Smart Fill tool fill through there and make these sections. And even if I could have put one more and making it 4, I think the original might have had 4 in the middle, not counting the triangles. But all I would have had to done is, yes, it has 4 plus so all you'd have to do is just make one more. I think I got one more line to delete. And then you can use the Smart Fill tool to fill this in and get that shape. Move that over. I've already got one ready. I put it in the center of the page. I just made it exactly like that. And because we use the Smart Fill tool, it will actually work and weld. I'm gonna put it about right there. I'm gonna double click. Well, I'm gonna make a duplicate of it first, Control D and double click it and move the center row. If you don't hit that X, sometimes you get the shape tool. Now I've moved my indexing line, so I'm gonna bring it back and see I'm that far, well, that's the line. I'm in the center, I'm gonna rotate it 12 degrees. And you see what happened? I think I'm actually better off. These lines won't matter. They're gonna kind of go with the bend. Control D and make a duplicate, rotate it 24 degrees, Control D, to your heart's content. I'm going to go ahead and back up here and use the transformation docker. I'm going to go forward. I'll get my indexing lines back. There we go. Now this should be in the center of the page when I rotate it. And it is. I'm going to open up the transformation docker. Windows, Dockers, Transformer, Transformation, depending on which one you are. We're going to rotate it 12 degrees 30 times. Now we're going to get rid of our outline circles and cross our fingers that it welds good. Takes it just a second because it had to weld a lot. Wow, something happened right there to that one. Let's go back. That shouldn't have happened. Let's try welding it again. Let's get rid of the indexing lines. Select it all and weld. For some reason, right there, there's something going on crazy. I don't know what that is. Boy, just like 1,000 nodes. I'll tell you what, let's back up here before we rotated them. I see the nodes aren't there. I don't understand what the, you know what, let me fill this in with the Smart Fill tool and move the Smart Fill one up. Get rid of this one. Maybe there was something wrong with it. Left click, right click, and we're just going to eyeball it to the center. And then let's double click on the rotation, put it in the center, and rotate it. There we go. Now see, I mean, sometimes the weld is just not going to work, but it should. There we go. Looks good. Then you got the, I don't know what was wrong with that first one. Then you use the Smart Fill tool to fill it in, and you've got your chain. Now his is maybe a little more sloping, you know, a little more between here, where mine's a little bit more abrupt, but not really. You could, you know, you could play around with that. So that's one way to do it. Now, if you ever have problem with the weld tool in this situation, I was just going to show how you could do things differently. Let's just real quick set our nudge factor on 1 inch and Smart Fill that in and move it up. Smart Fill that in, move it up, 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 and then go ahead and go left click, right click, and Control G to group that together. And then get rid of all this garbage in the middle. If your weld tool doesn't work. So now we're gonna, if it doesn't work, you can do this. You can double rotate, what I call, you know, because sometimes if you don't have that part in there perfect. So now let's do this. Let's get rid of our circles. We don't even need them at all. Now we can weld this, and it should weld better. And see, we get that shape. Now all we have to do is nudge this down. We don't have to Control D and make a duplicate or anything, just move the rotation in the center. One thing nice about that, just rotate it, and you got the exact same thing using your Smart Fill tool. I'm going to use a different color just to make it final process. And then you could take away the outline or have an outline, whatever you want to do. Anyway, I hope that helped them a little bit. Thank you for watching.